Hi, I'm Sharon Burns, owner and operator at Arts Catering, and we are here cooking with Sharon, the business chat. I am so super excited to have this phenomenal guest here today, Angela Moody. I had to track her down because she is on the move all the time. And as you know, most of our guests are just hustling and bustling. And this is another one that is an all-star. So, I had to take it when I could get it. And I just want to say thank you, Angela, for your time, first and foremost. But we just got to get started. Okay, so, as I explained, a lot of times many conversations are done over food, business decisions, good and bad, good family chats, with our loved ones, family reunions, you name it, it's surrounded by food. So that's why we're cooking with Sharon and cooking and chatting. So I figured, why not have the food component and a little bit of spirits? I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Okay, this, you all know that I like to promote small businesses, specifically women. And this is, we featured her before, but this is Yaki Wine and Wine Vineyard. And she is out of Atlanta. Unfortunately, she's not local, but maybe one day we'll have her here. I figured Angela, she likes Pinot Noir. I dropped the ball today, sorry. But this will have to do, and we get to highlight a Black-owned business.
Well, Sharon, first of all, I'm so excited to be here with you today. And I couldn't agree with you more. Food is the ultimate equalizer because so much of our lives revolve around food. And so breaking bread with people, for me, being from Mississippi, is very important.
That is important.
And as a small business owner and, a woman, obviously, I'm thrilled to be able to try this new wine. And I love trying new things.
Okay,
So,
well, let's just do it.
who wants Pinot when I can try this? Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to pour, and we're going to start chatting. And
I love your pours.
Okay.
Thank you.
it's we don't want baby pours.
No.
And then I'm going to start cooking while we're chatting. So why don't we cheers to...
Cheers.
All right, to fabulousness.
To fabulousness.
Okay. All right, so... this is the first time I've tried this actually myself, so love it. I think it will pair well with the salmon we're going to do. Just so you know, a blackened salmon with a little bit of zhuzh, just a little. Okay. I've been trying new recipes with people that have been chatting with me. So hopefully it'll be something that maybe we can implement, and give me your honest feedback once we're done.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to get started, but the first question is, just tell us about yourself. A little bit, where you're from, how you got here.
Originally born in Mississippi, and I am the youngest.
Okay.
And therefore the best, the mostest, all of those things.
Of course.
But honestly, I grew up in a family where education was extremely important. And so my father, who was born in 1917, had a master's degree.
Okay. And in 1917?
He was born in 1917, and my mother was born in 28.
Okay.
And they both had college degrees in Mississippi.
That's phenomenal, but that's not the norm.
It
wasn't the norm back.
It was not.
Yeah.
And so education and the importance of it was instilled in me very early. And also my mother made sure that I understood that it took her 10 years to get her undergraduate degree. And she was working in order to get her degree. She was doing waitressing in the summer.
Okay.
And then she was teaching all year because you could teach lower elementary.
Okay.
And she would go to summer school to get her degree. And so that taught me what it takes to have a dream and to hold on to it.
Because back then, that was not easy.
It was not. And to think about 10 years and you have a dream, and sometimes people lose hope. And so whenever I would get discouraged, when I was young, I'm not going to lie, and my mom would tell me, it took me 10 years. And
you were like, whatever.
I was like,
oh my God, I got to hear this again.
Yes. Right. But those were life lessons that I learned that helped me later in life.
Right.
And so when I got ready to start my own company, it was one of those things where I wasn't really planning to start a company.
Right.
I had been at a company where I was satisfied. I was happy. They appreciated me. They valued me. And then one day the upper echelons, the dynamics changed at the company. And I was like,
let me do something different.
Yeah, no.
This is not going to work.
I'm tapping out.
Okay.
So I left, but I still didn't know really what I wanted to do.
Wait a minute. You left and didn't, like, you
Girl,
didn't...
I left that job. I did not have another job. I was like, yep, I'm done. It's a wrap. Thank you. I appreciate, and I left on good terms.
Okay, yeah, of course.
With them, and we have been doing some business together.
Okay.
Over the past, I've had my company now. This is our 23rd year.
Amazing.
So, yeah, we've been working.
Congratulations.
With them. Thank you.
I mean, because most businesses fail within the first 5 years, as you and I both know.
We do know.
So 23 years?
23 years.
So we got to start planning this 25th celebration.
Absolutely. I'm ready for it.
It has to be grand.
Oh, grand is my thing. I love grand.
I know.
Fabulousness.
Yes. Okay, so Mississippi, where'd you go undergrad?
I went to Grambling.
HBCU?
HBCU in the house.
Okay.
Yeah, babe.
Yes. I didn't know that about you.
Yes.
I love that. I mean, I don't know if you know, I'm a FAMU grad.
I am not going to hold that against you.
Okay,
and I did know that because you had the purple on. I did not bring my black and gold. To represent Grambling. I thought, okay, I'm going to do black and beige, and I'm going to throw my company color in there.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you.
I didn't want to come and disrespect you in your house. Even though we did, I just will say, we did not only have the better football team, but our band, yes.
Wait, no, please don't start with
Eddie
the band.
Robinson.
Don't start with the band. Don't start
Coke
with the
commercial.
don't.
Japan. All around the world. Wait before.
This is about you today. So I'm not going to talk about the 100, marching in Paris. I'm not going to talk about the 100,
what? Huh?
Marching, family marching.
Oh, after we did all those things. Okay. All right. Back on track.
Okay, back on track. So you went to Grambling, and then how did you end up in the DMV area?
I was working for a company in Georgia, and they had an opportunity here in the DC area. Okay. And so I took it. It's a much longer story, but I'll spare you all those details. Make it short, I came, didn't really like it.
You didn't like DC?
Oh my God, I thought the people were cliquish, they were standoffish.
I could see that. I could see that, yeah.
But I came and then I left. Okay. And I went back to their Atlanta office. Okay. First opportunity I got, I transferred back to Atlanta. I left that company because a friend we weren't friends. I didn't know her, but we became friends over work. And she left to start her own company. Okay. And I wanted to be a part of that because things that were not going well at the company where I was, because the owner had just fallen into one of those states where he wanted us to be grateful to have a job. He actually said in a meeting, "You are here to make me rich and in the process to earn a decent living." No. And I thought, wait, I can't even earn a good living? Only a decent living? Oh my God. I was like, oh my God. I was like, yep, okay, time to go. Okay. And so I left and left my good paying job. Okay. With full benefits and left to go work as a 1099 for $1,000 a month. I was making $35 when I left that company. And remember, this was in 1988. So that was good money then.
That was good money.
Especially in Georgia. Right. So I left and I started working with this new company. And when I started, there were 4 of us. Everybody had a big title except for me. It was the president. It was the CEO, the president, the vice president, and then me.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so when I left them, they were around 100 people.
Okay. So then when did you have this vision to start your own? You know, you came here, you left, you came, eventually you came back.
I did with the other company.
Okay. So when did you decide, okay, you know what? I need to focus on me and starting my own thing.
Well, it was really when the dynamics at that company changed, because I had always said, oh, one day I'm going to have my own company. And I started working with the company I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And I was the fourth employee, and I got to learn so much at that company, because when you're a small company, as you know, everybody's got to chip in, and you will let people do things that once you get bigger, there is no way you would trust them with that.
Exactly.
But you only have so much time and resources.
Right.
And so I learned so much, and I really am grateful to that company for that opportunity. And then one day they started bringing other people in, and I'm all for, new ideas and things like that. But we got to a point where they were bringing in new people, and we were kind of changing our direction and changing so many things. And some of it was things that we had done before. And I just felt like we were doing this, just going around in circles.
Right.
And we were at a retreat, and we did a team building, and I was just all day, I was frustrated in everything we did. And at the end of that retreat, I said, oh my God, this is why I'm not enjoying my job anymore. I am frustrated because I cannot work with this management team.
Oh.
And so I decided that it was time for me to go.
Okay.
And I talked to the owner that day. I mean, we were both sitting there. She was crying, I was crying. And because I thought I was going to retire there.
Okay.
Because I had given up my dream because I believed so much in the company. But when it changed like that, it was no longer a dream that I could support. Nothing bad. I mean, they weren't a bad company. It just wasn't what I had envisioned and what I signed on for.
But I think a lot of people do that. They give their all. They give their all to these companies. And then at the end of the day, they're miserable.
Exactly. And so when I realized that, I said, this is why I'm frustrated every day, and I need a change. And so she tried to convince me to stay. I stayed a couple of months, but it just, she said, well, we can do this. No, didn't work. Okay. And so I left and started out as a 1099. Not going to lie, those first 2 years were really hard.
Okay. So the first two, I don't want to reflect back to the first 2 years, but what made it so, were you learning? What made it so hard about the first 2 years?
Well, remember, I quit a job with no plan. I had not planned to start a company. Right. So I didn't have the financial resources. Okay. I had just bought a house. Oh my gosh. So I moved into the basement of my own house with no door because it was the family room, and leased out the upstairs to 2 roommates. Shut up. That yes, because I needed to be able to pay the mortgage because I did not have a safety net. Okay.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a minute because that's important. When I'm hearing this, I think about all the things that I've sacrificed as a small business owner and an entrepreneur. Is that what people don't realize is that people think when you start a business, oh, I'm going to have freedom, I'm going to have all this money, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but really it's the opposite. And to your testimony, I think is that it's phenomenal that you were humble enough, because I think some people just wouldn't, I'm not going to, this is my house, I'm not going to sleep in the basement.
I had to walk 2 flights of stairs to take a shower because there wasn't there was a half bath downstairs with me, so I could brush my teeth and comb my hair, but I had to go up 2 flights of stairs to take a shower. But it is. And those are the things that you don't hear. The sacrifice you have to make. They don't tell you about the taxes you have to pay.
Tell me.
Look.
Say it.
I'm going to tell the audience. Listen to me. If you don't listen to anything else I say today, when you start a business, even if you don't think you can, get a bookkeeper to keep your books. It will save you so so much money.
Yes.
If you don't listen to anything else I say today, let me just say that.
Say it again, please. Say it.
Yes. And one more time for the slow people. Get a bookkeeper. Get a bookkeeper. Isn't it true?
It is so true because some people don't know this, but I got into some sales tax issues in the beginning of, I'd say the first 5 years because I was ignorant to, the whole accounting and bookkeeping, like you mentioned. And that's one thing as a business owner, you need to know everything. You may not be the expert in it. That's why you hire people, to have that expertise. But you need to have a little background, or teach yourself.
You do.
And so, the bookkeeping is so important. I say an accountant, a bookkeeper, and an attorney.
Yes, absolutely.
Are essential.
Essential, absolutely.
So, okay, so that is amazing. I did not know all that about you. And it makes me, applaud you even more for, your grit, your grind, and just everything that you've persevered through. So kudos to you because, like you said, people don't hear the backside of the story.
They don't hear that my car got totaled right about that time as well.
What?
Yes. So I didn't want to spend the money, so I bought a used Ford Explorer from my uncle. True story. Mm-hmm. After a few months, I'm on a first date. This guy says, "Oh, well, I don't want you to walk back to the garage by yourself." He walks me back to the garage. And I said, "Oh, well, your car is so far now. I'll just drop you off at your car." Mm-hmm. And so I thought to myself, oh, yeah, I forgot. Every time I make a turn, my horn blows. Ooh, I'm going to have to fess up to that. Yes, I was driving around in a Ford Explorer that every time I made a turn, the horn would blow. I spent as much time making corners as I did going, sorry, not blowing.
So being a business owner is not having like this fancy car.
Not in the beginning. Days. Not in the beginning.
Okay.
No. There's a time and a place for everything. At the beginning is not the time for that.
So beginning, how long do you think, for people that are interested in starting a business, how long do you think it's going to take for someone to get to that point?
Okay, well, there are a couple of things that really feed into that. One, first of all, remember I was flying without a safety net. So I did not have the finances that I needed in order to grow my business.
Right.
And that's absolutely fine. You don't have to have it. You just have to know that you have to make sacrifices and you have to grind.
Okay.
So that's one thing. The second thing is your business model, because not all businesses are created alike and not all businesses have the same profitability.
Okay.
So you need to look at your profitability and you want to keep reinvesting in your company while it's growing. If you're bleeding it of the money and the funds, you won't have money to put into the resources that you need to improve your infrastructure. Growing your infrastructure is really important. And you need to plan for that, whether it's software or whether it's the skill set that you need. We were talking about having an attorney. So, maybe you don't have the money right now, but eventually you need to save up enough money so you can have someone who, if you're in government contracting like I am, you want somebody who can review your contracts, that can review your subcontract agreements so that you don't get into trouble.
Okay.
But you got to plan for that. And so the time can vary. It depends on your business model. And one of the things that we didn't say that's equally as important, we talked about having a bookkeeper and also having some knowledge of the finances. So it's really important.
Absolutely.
You don't have to know absolutely everything. You don't need to be able to close the books at the end of the month or any of that. But you do need to know what the numbers mean. When you look at them, you need to know whether or not you're making money or losing money.
Okay.
And you need to be able to identify what's impacting those numbers. So for people who are like, oh, I'm not numbers people, Repeat after me. I love numbers and numbers love me because numbers are your friend. They are your friend.
It's important. It's
And
important.
They will it'll tell you just so many things.
Right,
It'll tell you
right.
whether or not you can do that expansion. It'll tell you whether or not you can hire that extra person, or whether you need to add 4 more hours to your day.
Right. Okay, so speaking of 4 more hours to the day, so how many hours realistically do you sleep at night?
People sleep who own their businesses?
Well, I mean, I don't really, but I mean, some people do.
You know,
How about you? Because you're always on.
You're absolutely always on. One of the things that I did have to stop doing was sending my staff email at 2, 3 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I'd be awake and they're like, oh, let me get this out while I'm thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, my average is about 5.5 to 6 and a half.
I think that's real.
So that's kind of where I land. What I have gotten by on is, we did an event where I literally was awake for 52 straight hours and a proposal.
Stop.
Yes, my legs looked like I had elephantitis. They were, I kid you not, they were scary big from all the fluid. I do not advise that. Let me just go on record and say I do not advise that. But that was in those rough early days that I was telling you about.
Okay,
so I had a client. It was one of those opportunities that just kind of falls in your lap. Mm-hmm. So you know it's going to be difficult when the client says, I was given your number. Somebody told me you might be able to help me. I don't think you can because we're so far behind. Oh. But they told me I should at least call you.
Hmm.
Okay.
I don't like hearing, I don't think. You know, that's a challenge.
Exactly. So the client said to me, we've got an event that we're going to do at the Rayburn building during Black Caucus. It was not the Black Caucus. It was another organization in another state, but they wanted to do an event during Black Caucus. They were expecting around 300 people. Mm-hmm. They had some special speakers that they were bringing in for the event. Okay. The event planner they hired had not booked a hotel, had not contacted anybody to book their airfare. The meeting was in 11 days. And they needed everything, branding, tent cards. They needed the agenda. They needed the speakers' travel.
What were they thinking?
The event planner kept telling them everything was under control when it was not. Okay. And they didn't have the checks. They clearly weren't doing the checks and balances.
Right.
And when they finally had to come to Jesus, because the participants were calling and saying, well, you know, when am I going to get my ticket? And nobody's reached out to me. And they're like, wait, what? Right. So we for years referred to that, to the 11-day miracle, because we not only pulled it off, but the client was extremely pleased. It led to a 3-year contract. Wow. And it was our first 6-digit client. We were like, woohoo! Oh, we're in 6 digits. We got a client with 6 digits. Yay. Wow. So that then kind of gave us a little bit of a launch. Okay, to EDJ. Mm-hmm. And it didn't mean that I was able to move out of the basement. I was still in the basement. Not yet. Okay. But when I put in my first big federal contract, here's another thing about being creative. I won the work, and then they called me and said, well, we've got good news and we've got bad news. The good news is you won the work. The bad news is there's a glitch. Oh, no. And it was like, wait, what? And so we're going to have to recompete it. It was like, no, wait, what happened? And so, what happened? What happened was that company that I told you about said, hey, look, we've got a attorney on retainer. He's really good. You know, he really knows these things about government contracting. Let him take a look. He took a look, and because of the type of contract it was and how things unfolded, he pointed the contracting officer to what the legal rationale was for why no, it didn't have to be competed, but the contracting officer was just saying no. And when the contracting officer checked with their legal counsel said, oh, yeah, they're absolutely right. There's no issue there.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
But if you hadn't had the legal resource,
right,
that's
the foundation.
That would have been a missed opportunity.
Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So, man, you have shared a lot in this short period of time.
I know.
I mean, as a business
I feel like
owner,
I've been talking nonstop.
No. I mean, this is all great stuff. And actually, I'm at a point to where I can plate something up for you to enjoy,
Yes.
and we can finish our conversation
I love it.
over food.
And wine.
And wine.
This delicious wine, because you know it has a nice bright citrus note, and I can't wait to taste it with the salmon.
It's gonna go perfect with that. So I'll be back soon with your plate. Okay.
Cheers.
Okay, we are back. You've tried this new dish. What are you thinking? Pros, cons?
Oh my God, I think it's a keeper.
It's a keeper.
Oh
okay.
my God, yes. And you're right. It does pair really nicely with the citrus.
Okay.
And when I'm tasting it,
because you are a foodie.
It's moist. It's cooked perfectly.
Yes.
And I like that the vegetables are not too soft. So it gives you a little crunch, but not enough that you think you're eating raw vegetables.
Okay. All right.
But it just helps with the texture.
Okay. Good.
Because you got this nice, creamy, silky sauce.
Right.
And the vegetables just give it an added dimension.
Okay, thank you.
So good job.
Thank you. So, you know, a lot of times I try out new things on people that I know will give me good feedback. And if it's not a winner, it's not a winner. I mean, you can't be in this game as a business owner. You have to have tough skin.
Yes, you do.
So,
yes, you do.
You know, feedback is critical, essential, I think, for any business.
Any business.
Right. Because,
Absolutely.
you know, a lot of times I find that people, at least for me, don't want to give feedback, you know, because they think it's going to hurt my feelings. I don't know what it is, but I always solicit it. I mean, what about you? I want to hear it.
Yes. And one of the things, being in the federal government, you automatically get feedback because they have a system that they call CPARs, and what it does is the contracting officer gives you an evaluation, and there's some criteria around it.
Okay.
But what we do is we do several types of feedback. When we're doing our events, because event management is one of the things that we do, all the participants get a survey. And so we ask them for their feedback. For our clients that we're working directly with, sometimes we'll do surveys with them as well.
Okay.
And when we're not doing surveys, we're always asking, whenever we have a meeting, what's going great and what could we do better?
Okay.
What could we do better?
Okay. Well, you know, it seems like you work a ton of hours and have limited amount of sleep. So I need to know, what are you doing? Because one of the areas that I try to focus on balancing is self-care. And as a business owner, sometimes we put that to the side because we have to do payroll, we have to do, HR, we have to do marketing, we have to do everything, business development. So where do you find the time to balance everything and have Angela time? I'm not married. I mean, I have a ton of friends that are married, and they tell me, you have to balance that and, no kids. But even without those two components, I still have a lot on my plate, as I'm sure you do too. So when do you find me time, and how do you do that balance?
Well, absolutely. I'm single too.
Okay. Yep.
Single and looking. If there are any eligible guys out there, single and looking. I'm going to say she's not single and looking. She's single. No, she's not looking. Me first. I'm older. I get first dibs.
We're not starting this competition.
Really? No, it's not a competition. I'm the this. I win.
Okay.
By default. You have more time than I do. It's just math. It's math.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, how do you balance the time?
But seriously,
that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation.
And
a whole nother wine.
I was about to say we need stronger alcohol
Yes.
to have that discussion. Okay,
well, a couple of things. One of, my friends tell me all the time, "Oh, you're so lucky. You're single. You don't have." Yes, that means when I get through with all the responsibilities at work, I get to come home and take care of all of those responsibilities too.
By yourself.
Myself. So that's one of the things that they don't think about. Mm-hmm. So what I have tried to do over the years is a couple of things. One, try to determine what are those things that are really valuable for my time, and what can I either delegate or pay someone else to do.
Okay.
Whether it's a teenager, a family member, a neighbor, or somebody that you find through a service, but really determine what are the things that absolutely I must do.
Okay.
That's the first thing. Mm-hmm. The second thing is finding ways to restore my energy. What are the things that feed my energy, and what are the things that suck my energy out? Mm-hmm. And you really have to be aware of that, because what I have found is, as I've gotten older and have recognized that I'm getting less time and not more time, I've become a lot more discerning with my time. And so things that don't feed me, that aren't going to give me energy and that are going to zap me of energy, I try to avoid them.
Okay.
And if you can't, then make sure you have a good plan for restoring yourself. And for me, it's all about travel. I love travel.
Me too.
And I love foodie experiences. When I tell you, when DC got their first Michelin list, I was literally in front. I was waiting for them to make the announcement. And as soon as they made the announcement, the first thing I did was I went online and started booking reservations at the restaurants I had not been to.
Okay.
So, because for me,
this is fun.
This is fun. Having good conversation with people I enjoy and sharing it over a good meal. It's like, for me, it's like everything.
So you love to travel. So
yes.
How do you go about, because I know you're hands-on. I don't want to call you a micromanager because people call me a micromanager, but it's okay. I mean, we'll take it. Yeah.
Some things.
But how do you go about planning that vacation and know that everything is going to be okay back here?
Well, here are a couple of things. One, I learned well before COVID that you can travel and work.
Okay.
Depending on what kind of business you have. So
right.
The type of business that I have, I don't have to be in the office, because all I need is a laptop and an ability to communicate.
Okay.
And it's all about how bad do you want it? Because if you want to do it badly enough, you'll figure out how to make it work.
I agree.
And so in 2000, it was 2000. My mother had a major stroke, and she was in Mississippi, and she was in the hospital for 5 weeks.
What?
5.
And of course you were probably...
It was at a time, actually it was 2001. Yeah, because it was 2002, right? Because it was a year after 9/11. It was 2002.
Okay.
And she had this massive stroke. And so I went home. But my business, we had just gotten our first 7-figure contract. We were growing. Things were happening. And I had to figure it out.
Of course.
So I was running my company from my laptop on dial-up AOL. I was
Not
literally
AOL.
AOL girl. This was
I mean, I still have AOL.
This was 2002. I literally had plugged my phone into my mom's phone jack at the hospital and had figured out how to add the 9 so that I could get a dial tone and all of that. And I remember her doctor walked in and he said, first of all, he was like, oh my God, I really like that laptop. It's so small. And we had a conversation about that. And he said, I see a cord. Are you connected? I said, yes. I'm dialed up over IOL. And he's like, oh my goodness. He was just fascinated that I had thought to do that. Right. But I needed a solution.
Pivoting.
Mm-hmm. So what I learned to do, I said, if you're going to travel, you've got to do a couple of things. One, you got to put systems in place. Mm-hmm. You've got to have people you trust. Mm-hmm. And B, you've got to be able to communicate with them. And I've been to 52 countries.
Okay. Awesome.
In all kinds of time zones.
Right.
So back to that sacrifice. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, I'm up at 2:00 in the morning because it's 2:00 in the afternoon where my staff is and they need me to be on that call. Right. So you just have to figure it out. You have to figure it out. And whatever it is that you want to do that feeds you, you have to want it enough to figure out how do you make it happen, whether it's money, whether it's time, or whether it's how do I communicate? Mm-hmm. Because I have found if you want something really badly enough and you don't let your self-doubt get in the way, your brain wants to solve your problems. Right. As long as you don't tell it there's no solution, it will find a way.
Well, how do you go on all these fabulous vacations, and where do you find the employees? Like, how do you find your staff? Because, good help sometimes they say is hard to find. And so if you're traveling across the country and you're trusting people to, operate and run your business, where are these people coming from?
I have been in business 23 years. Mm-hmm. And I have an employee who's been with me 21 years. Wow. I have employees who have been with me 20 years, 17 years, 16 years, 12 years.
So how do you motivate them?
Well, what I try to do is a couple of things. One, I never ask them to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. Okay. Yep. And if they're struggling with a project, sometimes if it's late at night or whatever, and there is the occasional all-nighter. Right. I am never at home or somewhere else not with them. I agree. If I'm in another country, if they're up, I'm up. I'm like, nope, we're going to solve it, work it together. Right. And the other thing that I jokingly tell them, but it is true, that I will work you hard, but never hungry. So I always make sure that there are snacks. I'm like, nope, you got to feed the body. It's like, what you want? What you want? No, full meals. And it's not like, oh, yeah, let's just get some sandwiches. And it's like, no. What, Thai food? We want Thai and Indian? Okay. We're ordering in Thai and Indian. And to let them know that I appreciate you. I value you. Right. And because without them, there is no company. Absolutely. And I tell them how blessed I feel each and every day to work with such a talented team. Right. Because they are. And I do recognize that what we have is unique. Our people are unique. They are fabulous. And as we say in the South, blessed and highly favored.
I agree. Well, I mean, Angela, I thought I was impressed with you before this conversation, but I'm thoroughly impressed with you with all the grit, the grind, your story that you've shared. I mean, it started from the base foundation of your parents. I think you talked about earlier, and the education that they instilled in you, and just all the determination to get where you are today. So I have to ask, what do you think is your exit strategy? Are you going to do this for the rest of your life?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
No way.
No. Okay. Because we got to find that man, and we got to settle down and enjoy life.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what you going to do?
So what I really want to do is when I exit, I am just fascinated with the concept of an employee-owned company.
Okay.
And so because we have staff that have been with us a really long time, and because I appreciate everything that they've done to help us get to where we are, I have been looking at and exploring how to become an employee-owned company.
Okay.
Because I know that I did not get to where I am
right.
by
the people.
myself. It's the people.
Right.
And I want to be able to reward them and thank them. And I think that that's one way that I could do that.
Okay. I love it. I love it. So, as this platform grows and we, learn from each other and focus on, how to make each other better, I have to ask, how can Sharon, how can RX Catering, how can anyone viewing help EDJ be the best that they could be? And how could they help Angela get to that point to where, how can we help?
Well, we're in government contracting. And so what I am always looking for, because I 150% believe in good partners. And so we have also been fortunate to have a lot of good partners. Okay. So I'm always looking for companies that we can do business with, that we can share resources. And I think that's really, if you know of a company that's in government contracting, I would love to talk to them. We do a lot of things in the healthcare arena. Okay. And we also do a lot of not just healthcare, but we do a lot of things in the sciences with administrative and operational support. But I have a real passion also. We got our HubZone certification a year ago. It's been a year and a few months. Thank you. And that stands for Historically Underutilized Business Zones. And I am really looking for a way. The purpose of that program is to revitalize those areas, to bring jobs and opportunity. And I feel like a lot of times people are working the program. I want to figure out how to make the program work. And how do we go into those communities and make meaningful impact? So if there are people who have ideas about how we can create job opportunities in those hub zones, I would love to talk to them and see how we might be able to either partner or how we might be able to get a movement going around that.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is the perfect person. She has the education. She has the hustle. She has the grit. She has the grind. She just has everything. And she's been in business for 23 years. I mean, that speaks volumes because most businesses fail within the first, 5 to 7 years. So we need to help EDJ Associates. We need to help Angela, and her ask is so simple. It's so simple. So I just think that I know that with this platform, we definitely can make it happen. And I just have to thank you again for your time. Because as you all know, time is money.
Yes, it is.
and Angela has taken the time to be with us today to share a wealth of information that I can't thank you enough for. So I appreciate you. Hopefully, I mean, she made me a little nervous today, y'all, because she is a foodie. And, when I cook for people that are foodies and, are meticulous, I get nervous.
Well, you had no reason to be nervous today. This is fantastic. And I am excited. We had a great conversation. I'm excited for the taping to end because, girl, I really want to enjoy the rest of this. I'm ready to get my eat on. So I'm like, cheers.
Okay.
Hug, hug, kiss, kiss.
Let's end it, right?
Yes. Okay. We appreciate you.
So thank you for joining us again at Cooking with Sharon. Until the next episode, we'll see you soon.